turn around, everything's gone except for plastic spoons and yogurt. That's it.
Yeah, I feel like AI is probably a bad idea, and we should just not do that anymore. Welcome to Table in Latin, the unofficial official Mensa podcast with Joel Michalak and myself, Ben Clark. Today, we're still at the AG. Our Mensa member is Tara Duke. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Go a brief synopsis here about Tara. So Tara's from Cincinnati, currently lives in Chicago. She grew up very religious. We're going to get into that. It's going to be spicy. And current Transformations Program Director at Dell Technologies. That's like so fancy. I just feel like...
It's very important.
It feels... honestly, well, I mean, you're here. It is very important. Former program director or program manager at Panasonic and program manager at IBM, holds a double master's that she got at the exact same time, MBA and information systems from Boston. Welcome, Tara. Fantastic.
Thank you for having me.
My voice is so gone right now. I'm so sorry. Tara, let's go into, like, honestly, like the coolest things. Let's just talk about what you currently do for Dell. Because like Joel's told me a ton about it because he asked you all the like pre-interview questions, and everything he tells me is like really cool. Yeah. So can we just go into that?
Sure. So at Dell Technologies, I work with Fortune 500 and global companies across their organization to understand their strategies, their goals, and how they want to kind of disrupt their industries. So we get to look at it from a strategy perspective, how they need to change their strategies internally, and then also obviously from a technologies. I work at Dell Technologies. So a lot of cloud technology, a lot of hardware, software applications. And the fun part about Dell is that we are made up of multiple different companies. So we have VMware, which a lot of people have heard of, which is the cloud side of things. Pivotal, which is apps. We've got security, integrations, all different types of companies that are part of this family. So, and then we partner with Microsoft quite a bit as well. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and so you have a hand in like all those different types of like branching technologies and everything.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
So you go into these companies, and then you basically try to come up with new innovations for them to disrupt their market and like continue moving forward. And it's like completely different fields all the time, right?
Yeah, exactly. So in my current portfolio, we've got an energy company, we've got insurance, we've got financial services, and just got my first retail client. So it's a lot of different stuff all the time.
Are you ever like at a point to where like the two companies, like multiple companies you work for, are they ever like competing with each other? So you're trying to like outthink what you just thought to like redisrupt what you just disrupted?
Absolutely. Literally all the time. If my internal companies don't change their mind, the customer is changing their mind. Yeah. So I do rework often. I just did a contract, and it took version 23 to actually get it signed because no one could agree on anything.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. My God. The fact that you basically have to constantly outthink yourself that's kind of a fun job. I'm really jealous, actually.
I mean, honestly, to be very honest, I am a glorified cat herder when it comes down to it. You know, I have great thinky ideas, and then it turns into, it's awesome.
You have great ideas, and it turns into getting them to do literally anything.
Literally anything. Please just agree on something.
What is your background, education-wise?
Yeah, so I got an undergraduate degree in business. Specifically, I was going to go political science, but decided that business was more broad and I could probably use it multiple different places. And then I got the MBA and the Master's in Information Systems at Boston University. And then I take courses all the time specifically around artificial intelligence. That's a real fun area for me to play in. So, yeah.
Have you taken any psychology?
I have a minor in psychology.
So that probably comes in handy.
Absolutely. Yes. People management is probably the number one thing that I do. Not only, managing teams globally, but also companies, individuals, making sure everybody's needs are met, various stakeholders who have very, very different ideas about how things are supposed to go, and getting them all together to agree and play happily together.
And then hoping you're like, but then also do this.
But then also please do this.
Please also do
and
the thing.
just sign your name here, please. Just
for the
please
love
do
of
it.
God, I'm so much smarter than you. Like,
We never say those sorts
no,
of
you
things.
never say
never.
No, ever,
No.
never. This is your idea, actually.
It's absolutely your idea,
Yeah.
and you are a brilliant human for
Yeah.
thinking of it.
How did you implant that for me to say it to you? That's wow.
Actually, that's my superpower, in
Yeah.
case you wanted to know. Yeah.
You're very good at telling other people that they came up with the idea.
Brains controlling.
That's what they teach us here at Mensa. AG is mind control.
That's,
Mind control.
yeah, for honestly, that's.
Am I
really-
allowed to tell the public that, or is that?
It doesn't matter. They're not going to remember you said it.
Oh, right.
That was like lesson 1.
Awesome. I'm gonna learn this. It's gonna be great.
That's what I love about like Mensa in general is that like people outside of Mensa have no idea what we do, and then people inside Mensa still have no idea what we do.
It's valid. It's a valid concern. Are we gonna address it or?
Well, it's like, you have the Mensa Foundation that does really cool stuff for like gifted youth and like furthering intelligence in like an actual way, and then like most of the members are just like, it's a social club.
I mean, I'm personally using it for that. So,
yeah, so it's fine. So tell me more about your work with artificial intelligence and what you're doing to further that. Like, which way is that? I mean, can you tell me like which way that's going in the future? How you feel like that's going to be utilized, maybe by like a company that isn't actually a company you're working for, or something
hypothetical
like that. A
companies.
hypothetical company.
Yes. Well, I mean, I love artificial intelligence only because people see these movies, right? And they assume that artificial intelligence means these robots taking over the world or something like that. When in reality, artificial intelligence is already here and already all around us, right? So, you're talking to Siri on your phone. Your smart house is making you coffee and turning on and off your electronics and things like that. The more intelligent ones, like your chatbots, know what you're asking and can redirect you and all of that fun stuff. But even, I was talking to the VP of Global Human Resources at my company, and she was talking about the fun systems that we all love when we're in recruiting and trying to get a job, that filter through resumes, right? And, the basic ones, which are probably the worst ones, and all of us have been a part of this, where it's literally just looking for these keywords, right? If you don't have the keywords in your resume, you're kicked out before you even see a human, right? And the more intelligent ones, right, go through and try to understand what's in your resume as a whole, and therefore give you a better understanding of what's going on, and can even spit out like recommendations to leadership. And so within companies right now, that's already happening all over the place, right? And then for what I do, for hypothetical companies, sometimes somewhere, right? There's always robotics and things like that I use on the analytics side, to give me information about industries, specifically like ones I don't know about, for instance, retail, right? So that's something I had to learn a lot about very, very quickly. And then going further, I got into a wonderful debate last night with a fantastic 21-year-old who was debating everything that I could possibly think about artificial intelligence. It was pretty interesting because he had a very, very interesting way of looking at it. But one of the things that I love is that our minds can't really grasp what we want artificial intelligence to be, right? So right now, you program something to do something, right? And if you have a machine learning capable program, then this is going to go out and grab data elsewhere and be able to move on beyond what you've given it at the program level, right? It's now making decisions outside of what you have and what you've given it, and it's literally growing up on you like a child. It's a beautiful thing. But then, right, the stuff that we're working on and teams are working on today and really trying to make happen is the stuff you see in movies, where it goes beyond that, where it literally, you launch it from your base and it separates and goes its own way, right? It can make decisions on its own. It can find the data where it needs to find the data, and then it can literally make things happen. And the problem people have with that, we no longer have control.
I mean, like, yeah, like that's like the biggest issue, right? So it's like everybody's worried about Skynet. Skynet's real, but in fact, it is kind of, but it's fine?
But
Question
it's
mark?
fine. Maybe. You never know, right? Because you don't know.
Yeah, it's like you don't know. So
And so, well, the problem I have with current artificial intelligence is that whoever programmed it is how that thing is thinking, right?
yeah.
So why I might not agree with you on your thought process, right? You have different ideas than I have different ideas than both of you. And yet some kind of way, this one piece of intelligence made from this one programmer, right, all of a sudden is now governing multiple different things. And you're like, do I agree with that though? Are we cool with that? And
is it really like that intuitive to where it's like tiny subtle things that the programmer like may have even subconsciously put into the program of this AI becomes like a repetitive constant process?
Absolutely. So I have a friend, and we're going to talk broadly about this, in the autonomous vehicle space, right? So driverless cars, super fun. Got in one of them. We'll never do it again. Okay, I probably will do it again. Just I'm going to need them to work on this.
I feel like if we're going to be alive for the next 20 or 30 years, we're probably going to do it again.
It's going to be a thing.
Yeah.
But, one of the things about the owner of this company was he would throw himself in front of the vehicle to show us that it would stop, right? Freaking everybody out. It did stop, which was great. But another thing that it does is it's supposed to learn and understand the difference between, oh, that's a human, oh, that's an animal, oh, that's a tumbleweed, right? If it's a tumbleweed, I can keep going. If it's a human, I should stop. If it's an animal of a certain size, I should stop. Who's making the decision of what size that animal is, right? And so at some point, there have been cars that have run over dogs because somebody's decisioning programming that went into that said that of a certain size, it doesn't matter. And most of us would usually make that a smaller size than dog size, right? And you don't want autonomous cars
like Chihuahua size. I mean,
exactly, right? And so even like little decisions like that, who's making those decisions? How are they getting made? And then what are these machines going to take out of that? So there's no way to tell.
That's a really, really good example. It's just stuff like that just extrapolates into everything else.
Yeah.
With machine learning, how do you think it's going to develop? Do you think the evolutionary process will have an effect on like what ends up working and what doesn't?
So it depends on how you look at it, right? If you take a machine and take it to as far as it can go with deep learning and release it into the wild, right? There's no way to tell what decisions that's going to make, right? So if you think about, let's see, what was it? One of the Iron Man movies.
Sure.
Where
use relatable stuff
where not Jarvis but Ultron was it? Yeah. Right? He made a decision that the goal is to save the Earth, therefore humans need to go extinct, right? How do you know it isn't going to make that decision? You don't, right? You don't know if, as we're looking around this world, we have a very finite amount of data given to us. So we're making decisions based on that data. If something has access to all the data, it is obviously going to make very different decisions than what we're going to make. Yeah. And so there's literally no way of knowing. So in my head, I'm pretty sure that super deep learning, artificial intelligence has already happened. It just hasn't been, right? You click the enter button to let it go. Okay. Because nobody knows what it's going to do.
I mean, yeah, it'd be terrifying. I mean, it's like you could let that happen, sure, but then how do we make sure that there is a fail-safe to where, like, it's like, yeah, launch the nukes. Like, no!
Right, but by definition, any fail-safe you put in, it would be able to override. Yeah, that's just literally the point. So you would be releasing an unknown god into the world. We
just need to make sure that it has a plug. Yeah. No matter what, okay? It's got a plug,
all I see is guys. You getting fried when you touch it.
Guys, it's got a plug.
Bye-bye, bitch.
Rubber suit. It's got a plug.
Wasn't that the plot to The Matrix? Is like they're run on solar power, so they blacked out the sun, and then they still...
Yeah, and then they're like, well, guess what? People are batteries now.
Right.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. And they're like, oh, well, that's what you think.
I mean, the whole point is if it has more data and more information, then it is by definition smarter than us. Yeah. So even we can do whatever we want, even us.
Yeah, even us.
Yes.
Does it have all the data, or does it just have the data that it wants to collect at that point? Like, given the subtle programming cues of whoever designed it. So it just creates this like...
Well, the true point of deep learning is that it would be able to separate itself from that programmer. Yeah. Yep. So you can't really.
Okay, so how fucked are we?
Well, to be perfectly honest, Probably pretty fucked.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest. I feel like there's that narcissistic dude out there somewhere, and it's definitely going to be a dude. Let me be very clear, guys.
Statistically,
that's going to push that button.
Yeah. It's gonna be like, yeah, guess what? I've created God, and then we die.
Like, and he's like going to sign his name at the bottom, right?
Exactly.
You know, so.
There's some people pushing to get coders to take ethics lessons.
Yes.
Because right now they're just like, I just code. I just do what they tell me to, and I don't think about.
I mean, there's all these movies about these brilliant scientists and engineers and all of these fun technology folks that are used by governments because all they're trying to do is create the best product available and not understanding that your government's going to weaponize it or it's going to take off on its own or anything like that. They're just trying to be the best at what they do. And so to be fair, that's probably how it's going to come about. It probably really won't be a narcissistic human. It'll just be somebody that's super brilliant, more brilliant than us, that manages to like just put it together the right way to make it happen.
No. Do you, I mean, it's kind of a broad question, but do you foresee a potential future where this does happen and we don't all die?
I mean, I don't even think about us all dying. Yeah. I don't think I don't think anything that we have thought up today is what's going to happen. Yeah. Just by the sheer point of this, it's bigger, broader, more knowledgeable than all of us. So what we think it's going to do means it's literally not going to do that. Yeah. Circular reasoning, but still, right? So one of the things that came up in the conversation yesterday was maybe the idea is that it makes our type of work obsolete, right? So it's doing all the things that we normally did. And so then what do we do? Yeah. It's not that we're not here. It's what do we do with ourselves?
And with this thing, this would cover like even like muddling concepts. So like we have like, philosophers and we're trying to figure out the nature of humanity and why we exist. But then you have this thing that'll just be like, no, this is actually why that happens. And then it's just like completely erases all of our history.
All of it, right?
Yeah, it's like, no, you're wrong. That's a cool idea, but no.
Yes. And that's the answer we would get every time is you are wrong because I have all the data and therefore I know you are wrong. And so everybody would have their feelings hurt all the time.
You would
right?
have to, at that point,
no point in going to school, right?
It's just like at that point, it's just like you would definitely have. I feel like humanity would break into a like we're against this, we are for this, and the against it would be like you don't have all the data. But that would be like their only go to is that you can't possibly have all the data.
Well, my problem with artificial intelligence today is that it is biased based on who's programming it. It's biased. Period. So if you want to get a unbiased or fair opinion, you've got to let it do its own thing, and then you get whatever you get. Yeah. So
we have not yet reached that singularity moment where the AI we've developed understands its AI and can do whatever it wants. We're not there.
We are not told we are there.
We're not told we are there because it might not want to tell us.
And there it is.
We don't know when it's going to hit the point of having consciousness yet. So,
well, I mean, but let's be fair. If it has hit consciousness, it might not tell us because it might be manipulating us as humans to do what it needs us to do in order to make it a wife. I mean, I don't know.
And also, it's like one of our greatest mysteries of all humanity is that what is consciousness? We don't even know what that really is, to be honest. So it'll probably find out before we do, and then it'll be like, "Well, fuck you! I'm not telling you."
I watched a 4-hour debate on the definition of intelligence for the artificial intelligence part of it. Didn't even get to the artificial part. 4 hours just on what intelligence is. So it's problematic for a lot of people. I do start tuning out at that point, though. I will be clear.
We should just let the robots take over if they're doing a better job.
Well, yeah, but okay. So Joel, in your world, the robots take over and they're doing all the jobs, and so we never have to go to school anymore or anything. What do we do as humans? What happens then?
I feel like it's almost like, so you have like professional sports, right?
Yeah.
Oh, here's my analogy. I think it's really good.
She asked me.
I did, but we'll totally let Ben go first. It's the Ben show. So.
It's really the Joel show, and I'm just here as comic relief. But so I feel like, so you have the machines doing everything, right? They're the best at it. You have professional sports. If they're even machines. You have professional sports, you have amateur sports, right? We'll just do our own thing, and just be not as good at it. You know,
It's true.
We'll be happy to achieve on levels we can achieve on. I feel like everything will become about like personal achievement and like personal betterment, and that will be it. Because
Wait, how's that different than today?
Because today we feel like we are at the pinnacle.
Mm-hmm.
I think if this happens in the future, we will know we aren't, but we're trying our best.
Why would you even try though? If there's no competing, because that's what it would be. There's no competing with it.
There's
why
no
even
competing
try?
with it, but there's competing with each other.
Okay, so we still want to.
We would still have to, because if you don't, what do? You just like, well, nihilism, guess, just fuck it, like, and there's people like that now.
Right.
And I get that.
And I feel like that group would grow.
That group would definitely
Yeah.
grow. They'd become like we live in VR and fucking food is pumped into our mouth and it's just like we're completely, ugh.
I feel like I would have more sex. Lots and lots more sex.
I mean,
sounds like a good plan for me.
why not do
Yeah.
that now? I don't understand the problem. Like,
Oh, that's my point though, right? Then, right? Yeah. We're competing with ourselves now. Yeah. Right? If we're still competing with ourselves then we just keep the world going as it is.
Yeah. Well, no, the world, I feel like the world is run by them. The world's, we're just in our little microcosm of...
You're skipping past the whole point of if they're more intelligent than us, then they dominate the whole planet. So what is our usefulness to them? Right. And why wouldn't they eradicate us? So the solution is we are going to be their pets, and the cuddliest and the cutest will be the survivors. Then you're in luck.
I don't like this.
Yep, I'm gonna need my space bubble here. No touchy.
You might be used for mating though, so.
And let's be real, I would
more puppies.
I would be a stud. I'd be studded for sure. I mean, let's just be real.
Okay, I'm for it. Why not?
Yeah. Let's
just put that checkbox beside your name in advance.
Not even a question. Like. God damn, this future sucks. No.
There's gonna be like.
I'm good with it so far.
There's also gonna be like the really dopey looking human with like really big ears, and they keep breeding it without their big ears.
No, I mean seriously, at that point, right? Because they are all whatever, right? We breed dogs like that, right?
Yeah,
these kind go with these kind. I mean, I would not be surprised if they separate us all by characteristics again.
Yeah, no, it would totally cause a war. Like even going back to touch on like what we briefly touched on in the
humans
very
versus
beginning.
The machines war.
Yeah, I think I mean it would happen. It would absolutely happen, especially like
how do you figure if someone is smarter than you, knows what you're going to do in advance? Because I'm fairly certain they will know in advance what we're going to do. How would you fight that?
I'm not saying it would win. I'm not saying it would be like a long resistance.
I'm pretty sure that we would have that thought.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, all we'd be left with is plastic spoons.
Yeah.
We turn around, everything's gone except for plastic spoons and yogurt. That's it.
Yeah, I feel like AI is probably a bad idea, and we should just not do that anymore. That's kind of what I'm going for.
But then you've got us nerds that really can't keep ourselves from doing this. So
I mean, it sounds like such a great idea up until we become bred for big ears. Like I feel like once we've crossed that point, it's like, well, maybe maybe we've created a problem. Actually,
by then it'll be far too late.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So we should just leave Earth.
I love that this just went from being an interview to like a stereotypical 4 a.m. Mensa AG conversation.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So now everybody knows what happens.
Actually, it's
like this weird conversation with jokes and
jokes about the ending of humanity.
Where facts blur into fiction.
Facts blur into fiction and possible theoretical futures, and there's like hints of philosophy, but at the end of the day, we're fucked.
Yeah. My favorite part about this is when, these people that have been doing this from an engineering and statistical standpoint for years and years and years hear this, they're coming for me, I'm pretty sure. They're like, this is not like that at all.
Yeah.
This is why I'm nice to Siri.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm always yelling at Siri. She's always recording my notes wrong. Always.
But then she's always recording you. So.
Oh, she's always recording me. That's why I just say like random stuff. I was telling somebody the other day, I'm like, they didn't believe me. We had that like pre-AG talk about is there privacy? And I'm like, no.
No.
Why do we need to have an all day talk about this?
Right.
And I'm like, I could hold my phone and be like, I can't stop pooping. And I'm like, look, watch, ad for Depends. Like, it's over. Like,
It's bad.
like, there's no privacy. Like, what are you talking about?
I remember like a year ago, my mom called me just freaking out.
Yeah.
Why does Google know where I'm going? I was like, Mom, why are you whispering? Because Google knows where I'm going. Like, Mom, did you have a flight planned? Did you do it via Gmail? It's all Google.
Yeah, it's all connected.
It's all connected.
Actually, I'd love to see like if this goes out and like the engineers working on this like just have a like comment storm. I would love to hear how I'm on your side. I want to hear how we're not all gonna die. Like I would love that actually. Please don't make me fucking theoretically become John Connor in this bitch because I will for that 3 seconds I'm allowed to live. Like
3 seconds.
Yeah. It's probably going to be about 3 seconds
Probably.
before like some sort of fucking atom bomb just fucking hits me.
Because they already know exactly where you're going to be at that time.
Yeah.
They're like, bloop.
Yeah. I'm just like, and fuck that guy specifically.
Literally. There's no winning.
Yeah.
Just accept it.
Well, that's
All right.
cool.
We should get into her background.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Fun stuff.
what was that like?
So yeah, what was your childhood education like?
Oh, that. Yes. Well, my wonderful mother thought that we should be homeschooled. So we did that sometimes.
No.
There were often times where she would go to conferences and learn brand new things and then come back and all of a sudden our schooling would completely change. And then, we joined random churches like Amish and Mennonites, and they have their own schools and their own way of teaching. And education beyond 8th grade is not really a thing. So learning on our own is how you went past that. I do remember at one point where I was talking to my mother that I needed high school education. It's getting books from the library, things like that, trying to learn.
What made you kind of get an interest going to the library and getting your own education? What set off that the education you were getting was not adequate?
Well, a couple of things. My mother came home one day with a new book called Far Above Rubies, where I could learn everything I needed to know in high school from the Bible. And at that point, I realized that that was going to be problematic for me ever getting out of that situation. My aunt, my mom's sister, was in technology at the time, and I wanted to be just like her. So anytime she came to visit, I picked her brain. And so she was the one that kept letting me know that there's a different life out here that you could possibly have if you could figure out how to get out of here. So I figured education was my way out, and that's what I did.
And then you put yourself through school, through college.
Yes. So I worked full time as a sales rep. And then I did school in the evenings and graduated in 2.5 years while working full time.
With a dual master's?
Nope, that was my undergrad.
Oh.
And then 3 years after that, then I went to Boston University. I decided to do the college experience since I didn't do it in undergrad. And then did those 2 degrees at the same time.
The college experience being getting a double mat. That's not what most people consider the college experience.
With a minor in psychology.
Yeah, a minor in psychology, yeah.
I mean,
when I hear people talk about the college experience, it's nothing to do with getting a double master's, I can tell you that.
okay, valid.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted to live on campus and drink with friends after class.
Yeah.
I have very basic needs at the time. So,
that's super impressive.
No, that's super impressive. Again, like
I like learning. It's a lot of fun. I mean, even now, a lot of my stuff I know about artificial intelligence, self-taught, right? There's a lot of stuff online, coursework I was able to take. So I still take school courses all the time because I'm a nerd and that's what we do.
No, but that's with your background, that's really cool because it's like you were denied knowledge and you were denied access to like the outside world realistically and like shut off from it and almost brainwashed. But you were still able to see through that and then able to work your way out of it, which is like really, really difficult to do because you didn't know there was a way out of it until your aunt, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
mean, and technically I did know because when we were kids, my dad was in the military and I call this the normal family. It wasn't a happy household, but we did know that there was real school and the kids down the street went to real school, right? There were TVs and things like that.
Was there a time in which like you started at real school and then you got pulled out, or it was like from
Nope, we were homeschooled. We went to a church school 2 years.
Yeah.
I was in 3rd grade and 8th grade for those years. So.
And so when your mother would go to these conferences, she'd be teaching you basically like Bible study. And so she'd go to a conference and then teach you different Bible study.
Yes. There's this group, and I just remember the books. They were called like character studies or something.
Yeah.
And we would learn how to be good humans. And I was like, so where's the math part though?
Yeah.
Like in there, is there science?
Yeah.
And then the history was not really real history. So
parables.
I mean, it was amazing. The things they came up with that were actually school. So library was great. Loved the library. I learned lots of things at the library. Kids go to the library.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's like, what is it? It's like, so we have like these phones now. It's like we have access to all human information ever, really. And then what do we spend time on? It's like arguing with people on Facebook and memes.
Memes. Hey, I also play like, I don't know, some bubble bursting thing.
Yeah, whatever. I mean,
it's very good.
You need distraction. That's fine. I'm just saying, like, we could constantly be learning, but most of us choose not to. And most of us aren't brainwashed from a young age and then get out of that situation. So literally everything you've done in your life is incredible. Yeah.
Hey, it's been a fun ride. Put it that way.
Yeah.
My brothers took their own paths, but we all managed to get.
Did you all get out of that situation? Like
we
nobody's
did.
Still like in it?
My middle brother, he left before I did, and he was good in that he had a good job at the time, so he just went that route for quite a while, and now he's an EMT. And he's got one of those really caring hearts, so I think that's a great space for him. Yeah. And then my youngest brother works for the Department of Defense, and we'll not talk anymore about that. Okay. But he's also doing wonderful, and he's quite a brainiac himself. Yeah. Trying to get him to take the Mensa test.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Yeah. Any of your siblings in Mensa, or are you the only one?
I'm the only one. This goes back to one of those things I was telling you earlier. Not a lot of people that look like me tend to take these kind of tests. Yeah. So.
Yeah, which is a problem.
Yeah. So, talking him into it slowly but surely.
Do you think that's a cultural thing that just not enough people know about it, or?
I guess people don't know about it, but also I don't think they care. I mean, the only reason why I took the Mensa test myself, honestly, was because I was, becoming a pupil manager. And I was having significant problems like dealing with their emotions. So I was like, there's something wrong with me. Right?
The Mensa test is like basically like testing for autism.
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
it's like,
there is a big correlation. It's like a higher IQ, the less you're able to cope with humanity.
Right. I'm like, I feel there's an issue with my empathy levels. Yeah. And also, I think that people are dumb sometimes. Yeah. And I just feel like dick. And maybe I should just see if possibly there might be something to this. And so I took an online IQ test and was like, oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Maybe we should. Yeah. Okay.
That's how I felt like after I got accepted, it made me more compassionate to other people, because before I was just frustrated that they weren't understanding. And then I was like, oh, statistically, my brain just works faster and I can comprehend ties to more things.
Every 6 months I do these introspectives, right?
Yeah.
And what do I need to work on? And it's still on there from like 10 years ago. Yeah. Tara, you need to take the time to explain what you're saying, right? Just because you reached Z doesn't mean anyone else is there yet. You need to explain the alphabet as you go, right? So it isn't that they're not as smart. It's just that my brain does 20 scenarios in the time that other people are doing too. Yeah. So I just need to take the time to explain and also understand that feelings are okay, right?
That's a hard one.
Right. That's like for me, I'm not really big on feelings. Even my family, they're just like, Tara.
Yeah. And the other thing to remember too is like, none of us got to like be smart just because we worked hard to be smart.
Right.
It's just like, it's a genetic
what it
thing.
was.
It's how you developed.
Exactly.
And everybody else is just in a situation that they had no choice to be. So
Right.
like, you have to be like, all right, I know I'm smarter. You didn't choose to be not as smart as me. So I need to not be a dick.
Right, but
I
yeah,
need to be
right. So
patient
while people
and-
are working, like, you know, it takes them a little bit longer on their studies.
Yeah.
It takes me a little bit longer to deal with people in the way normal people need to be dealt with. Just period, right? You have your thing that you need to work on. I have my thing I need to work on, and then Mensa helped me understand why that was that way, and so that's why it was really good for me to join Mensa.
No, that's the way I like to explain to people too. It's like there are so many things I'm awful at, like when it comes to like interpersonal relations and stuff. And it's like I can just, you know, I can see patterns a little bit better than you, but you can do way the fuck more than I can do.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I used to get pissed when there were other managers that they could talk their people into doing anything like that, and I couldn't. And I was like, that's just it's not fair. I'm like, I need to learn this skill.
There's also people that can like act on something very quickly and make a
God,
decision. And meanwhile, I'm like having anxiety because I'm thinking of every terrible scenario that could happen.
I actually literally had to reprogram the way I think
Yeah.
because my job requires immediate decisions on the spot. So
Yeah.
And when you're like contemplating, well, I could do this, and these different scenarios, and like, no, check it
Right.
out. Let's just never do anything ever.
and to be fair, right, getting more education made me less confident in my abilities to do
Exactly.
that. So before that, I was super confident. I'm like, oh yeah, we do this, we do that, we do that. That's just the way it should go. And then the longer I was in school, I was like, I feel like I need to think through this more. There's analysis that should be done. Oh, there's so many numbers. There's so many ways this could go. If I do it wrong, my company could fail.
Yeah, yeah. I would say this all the time. I would say it all the time. Like, I'm so jealous of like hyper confident idiots.
Yes.
Like,
They do great.
They do so
business.
well. Like, they're just like, we're doing this, deal with it. And you're like, okay.
Right.
Like, that's not the right answer though, but we'll do it. And just like through that just bull charge, it just works. And I'm just like in awe of it, honestly.
Just so you know, I have now adopted that.
Yeah.
That way to approach.
Yeah.
One of my new project managers, he was like, I just really appreciate the confident way you approach things. And I'm like, what you're saying? Yeah, but it's true. At some point, you just have to choose a path
and just do it.
And just do it.
follow through. I mean, the biggest lesson from all of that is that follow through is the most important skill.
Right. It doesn't mean that you don't turn left instead of right at some point to get
Yeah.
you back on track.
Yeah.
But keep going, working towards an end goal.
Yeah,
Just get it
that's
done.
the biggest thing that I always struggled with like intelligence and like the constant, you know, scenarios is just like you just have to follow through with something resembling your original idea.
I mean,
for a
I
long
don't know that
time.
it has to be the original idea.
Maybe something resembling.
Right? There was a goal.
Keep moving
Well, we go
forward
there,
is the
yes.
point, and don't get constantly sidetracked
Yeah.
because one tiny facet goes wrong, and now you have to reevaluate the spreadsheet. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Like that's the biggest lesson.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Okay. Damn.
So this is your first Mensa AG.
It is. It is.
You just got in the
1
night
a.m.
before yesterday,
Thursday.
right?
Yeah.
So you've had pretty much one full day here.
Yes.
What has your experience been like?
I will say it has been exponentially more exciting than any other Mensa event I've ever been to. So that's great.
There's regional, local events.
Yes.
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 And this is the national
This is
event
the
where
national event.
everybody from the whole country.
The fun part for me was, you know, all of these random people that I've been conversing with online for months and months, and now all of a sudden we're here. I actually get to meet you. So it's a
And
lot
they're
of fun.
completely different.
And
which
they're
is the best part.
completely different.
Yeah.
But still, at the same point, it's like there are cool people.
Yeah.
Let's hang out with those
Yeah.
cool people,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
actually get to do that.
See, the best
And
part when she
then-
said there's cool people, she pointed at both of us.
That's
that was-
exactly
so-
what that was.
She was like, there's cool people. We
This is
did it.
why I come to AGs because
Yeah.
I'm considered cool here.
I know. That's
I
really
mean,
it.
right?
That's
You
really
gotta-
it, honestly.
You gotta like be a part of the nerds, and then realize you're the coolest of the
At
weirdest.
no point
of
in
the
my life
nerds.
have I ever been as cool as I am for the week I'm at an AG. Like, everywhere else, I'm the weird guy. Like here,
Like
I'm
you just control the weird a little bit more
Yeah.
in the real world.
I
Here
know.
you can just let it fly.
I try to, but it doesn't work.
embraced.
Yeah.
It doesn't work really, honestly.
Yeah, that's actually the other part, right? It's a lot of fun just to be me and not have to worry that, I'm offending all the world or
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
I like that you can make like obscure references to things, and there's always gonna be something that's like, oh, I got it.
Yeah. You don't have to like
Nerds.
explain why you even know about something to
Right.
someone. It's like, okay, you're just interested in that. That's cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, the no sleeping and the constant drinking is hurting me, but
I mean, that's super fun.
yeah.
I woke up at 8:00 this morning.
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
What time did you go to bed?
7 o'clock.
4 a.m. But again, like I said, at 4 a.m., I mean, I was signing up for volunteer slots and donating. I was very, very effective at 4 a.m.
Yeah. I'm super proud of you. You're doing it.
I appreciate that you're volunteering already, because a lot of people don't do that the first AJ they come.
Well, and that is the thing, right? I did wait till I got here
Yeah.
to understand what volunteering meant.
Yeah.
It's literally
I
just
started
hanging
signing
out in a different area.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, in the middle of the afternoon when it's 112 degrees outside. By the way, can we never do
We're in
Phoenix
Phoenix,
again?
yeah.
That's- Here's the thing.
But, right.
Yeah.
I understand and I appreciate keeping costs low.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
so volunteering in the middle of the afternoon actually works very well.
Yeah.
AC is great.
Yeah. I think the last thing I want to ask is, since you know a lot about where the technology is headed,
I mean, I like to think I do. Put it that way.
with artificial intelligence pushing a lot of people out of their jobs, what do you think the future is going to be like for non-college educated people like Ben and I? Well, I went to film
obviously,
school, so it doesn't
right?
count. Like, it's not real college.
Okay.
Can I add on to that question
Yes.
just one
Oh,
tiny
yes.
thing?
All right.
Because
I feel
if
like
I
this-
don't, it's really bad.
Okay.
But would there ever be, like, I know we talked about the AI does everything better because it has all the data, right? But would there ever be like facets of what humans can do? Again, like philosophy, for like a very broad example,
Or art.
Right.
that potentially AI will not grasp for decades.
So I don't know if you already seen the artificial intelligence art that's been created.
Yeah.
That is fabulous.
Yeah.
So even artists will probably be out of business. What I mean is, it's a wonderful world, and I'm sure we'll all be fine.
Yeah.
No, but
Does this window open? Should I jump now?
yeah, I mean, there's right. I mean, if machines do everything just better. I mean, you don't need plumbers anymore. You don't even, I mean, union jobs, you don't need trained conductors. You don't need any of that anymore. Even, my job, which is all human stuff, but if it's already optimized, because the machine's optimized the way you run your business, you don't need me anymore either. So,
Well, is there like some sort of like future where we become like, artificially intelligent, like enhanced human beings, like where we're plugged
this is my
in?
favorite part.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I personally am ready for chips. I don't care. I don't care what people talk about them and where they think they're going to go. I want a chip. Why? Because I love those things where you can just call up and you can see in front of you anything, any data that you'd ever want. And we'd just be like the machines at that point, right?
Yeah.
You can call up any data, be able to see where you want to go, and it'll be perfect. So if we become like them, maybe they let us live.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
as weird as that sounds. I mean, yeah, like we need to enhance our, meat machines
Yeah.
to at least be on a level that is useful.
Exactly.
We need to make them rely on us, because they still need bodies.
Right. I mean, just like we do here in this world where we have the people that will do things that other people don't,
Yeah.
I assume, and probably incorrectly, that the machines will want the same.
Well, this is why.
Cute pets.
This is
Dopey
why.
ears.
This is why we need to, as of today, truly separate robotics from AI.
True.
They cannot have bodies.
Also too late for that.
Goddamn Boston fucking, what is it, like Boston Dynamics with that like
Dynamics.
robot you can't kick over?
Oh, yes.
Why? Why?
I mean, there are innovation centers all over the world that are ready for that.
Why?
Again,
Blowing
this
out the
is a-
speakers.
This is a talk we had yesterday. I was like, I can't ride the levels of all the mics, so don't scream. And then Ben gets excited.
I figured the
Very
voice.
exciting.
Yeah.
I like it.
You'll make a great pet. They'll
You
love,
will like
they'll love
an
the
amazing
barking.
pet.
Whatever.
And then they're gonna take your vocal cords. Just letting you know that's next.
But then I won't be able to do that Barry White radio voice you like.
I mean, I haven't heard it recently.
At WXYZ, playing only Barry White, Barry Manilow, and give me another Barry, quick.
Chuck Berry.
Chuck, yeah. Okay. At WXYZ, playing Chuck Berry, Barry White, and Barry Manilow, 24 hours a day. Curl up by the fire and enjoy your evening.
Thank you for that.
You're
I
very, very
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's going to be the intro, by the
Yeah.
way. That's
There
the
it is.
intro.
That's it.
No context whatsoever.
None at all.
Last question.
All right.
With where the technology is going, what companies do you think Ben and I should be investing in?
Joel, you cannot ask that on camera.
All right, you're right. That was. I guess no. I just meant like the technology. I wasn't asking for like insider trading.
I personally am looking at, and this is with no insider knowledge. Personally, I'm looking at companies that are looking at enhancing humans.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm all about that jazz.
I'm really honestly like I really want like I love like just video games and shit. I want to like my hand to be like turn into like 55 fingers like
so cool.
some like ghost serial some anime shit. Like I just want like a chainsaw.
I do want to be clear though, my mom's religious groups and things like that, the chip is the mark of the beast apparently though, and we're all going to hell if we get those.
I
There's
really
also
honestly
that.
feel like that's
Wait, is that in the Bible?
No,
it
it's just
keeps
an
evolving.
interpretation.
Yeah, whatever
the
it
Bible.
needs to be currently is the mark of the beast. I mean,
Like, it's awesome. So there's that.
I like it. That's cool.
Yeah,
At that,
why
no,
not?
I'm actually on board for it now, just because I think that's hilarious. Like, yes, the goat herders, like 2,000 years ago, were thinking about microchips.
Microchips.
That's where they went
it.
with that.
Right there.
Yeah.
I mean, if that was actually in the original scribes, I'd be like, all right, I guess I got to be religious now. Like,
they were like,
they were really
silicone nanotechnology will be the coming of Satan. You're like, whoa, we haven't known what this has meant until we came up with those words in the 60s.
Yep, there you have it.
Okay, guys, well, we're fucked. This will be the last episode ever. Tale in Latin.
I think we have a few more years.
Yeah, we have a few
Yeah,
more
there's
years.
a few more years, I think.
All
I
right,
think.
cool. Well,
And of course, now they're coming for us tomorrow.
Yeah.
So there's that.
soak up the sun, folks, because it's probably going to be gone. Oh, my God. Tara, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I feel the future might not be that bleak, but that's what I have to think. you
Hey,
know?
you've got to plan for the worst in order to enjoy the best.
That's true, and that's why we're here.
That's why we're here.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Table in Latin with Joel Michalak, myself, Ben Clark, and Tara Duke. Future's fucked. Enjoy like the year or two you have left. Have a great day. See you next time.